Hey, welcome back. So last time we started estate planning and I made a question. What happens when you don't wake up? What happens to your stuff? Now consider this, it's still going to be here. So your heirs are going to receive your property. What will they do with their inheritance? Have you ever thought of that? What's going to happen with it? And do you care? Now that's important because if you care, you can follow through with some of these ideas that I have for you. And have you ever thought of this? Will the people you leave your money to spend money their way or your way? You know, people look at inheritances like found money. I got a friend I bet you his net worth is $6 million. And he has one brother and no children. And he's older, so no parents. And he doesn't even have a will. He says it's just going to fall out there. So what he's saying is, I don't care how they spend it. I'm not going to be here anyhow. And he's not picking and choosing who's going to get it. It's just going to fall out there to whatever relatives. Now, the thing is, it's his stuff, and it's his estate plan, isn't it? So here's a question. How do you want your family, spouse, to receive their inheritance? Do you want it outright, where they just, here it is, just take it and do as you wish, not in a trust? Let me give you a second one. How about a trust with income for life for the spouse? They have power over it, but they can't just go in and say, hey, I got a new husband here, you're gone, I got me a new guy. And that a young person, 40, 50, 60, even 70, sure they could get married again and have love again in their life. But your property's laying out there. Stuff you worked your whole life for. How do you feel about that? Well, you could leave it in a trust where spouse gets an income, but they don't get the principal that goes on to the children. And you've probably all heard the stories about a person dies, leaves it to the second wife, and then the first wife's children don't get the inheritance, but the second wife's children do, and the first wife, those are your children. What a mess. And I've been involved in that too. I'll never forget, he's a good fella. He was a classmate of mine. Died early. A CPA in his third marriage. And when he died, wait a minute, before you'd say, Chuck, you didn't do a good job. Well, I got him over and over and over. I said, let's look at the will and the beneficiaries. Oh, Chuck, I'll get around to it. Okay, he didn't. And he left such a mess. His third wife was living in their home, but she didn't own it. She got booted out on the street. The only daughter he had from the first wife had the retirement plan somehow in her name, beneficiaries, and so, not in her name. And so the third wife ended up with all the dough, but had to go live in an apartment. Man, they were screaming from both sides. Just no planning. Remember, it's your stuff. One day you don't wake up. And he didn't wake up. He wasn't expecting that. It was nothing really going on in his health. Okay. Then you have a third way. It's called a qualified terminal interest plan. It's where the spouse has an income, but they can't touch the dough for any reason. It's really locked down. And that might be in a case like when you've got our children, your children, first marriage and all that. So think about this, because it's devastating what can happen on the other side of this without proper planning. We'll get to it.